Hello, kids. How are you? A very good evening to each one of you. Are you all rocking? Can I see you all answer in the chat box? Let's see some Josh before we invite the speaker for the day. That is a renowned scientist for all of you whom we have requested to join us, Dr. Amitabha Bandyopadhyay. Can I see some Josh in here? Come on, kids. Bhai, sir has kept a condition. If we see a high Josh, then only he's going to be here. Come on. Can I have some hearts, some thumbs ups, please, please? Okay, Shivam is doing a dab. Come on, jaldi, jaldi, jaldi. Awesome. Wow, wow. अब थोड़ा थोड़ा जोश आ रहा है. चलो, चलो, चलो. Acha kids, I know that you all are a young crowd and definitely you all know about the upcoming years in your academic careers, right? So some of you would be in 7th, some would be in 8th, some in 9th, 10th, and maybe there are students from 11th and 12th as well. So, Bala, this is one point of your life which is really, really important, and it is very, very important to take the right decisions, right? I know that there are many students whom I have come across, and they write from their junior classes. They have been telling, ma'am, we want to become a research scientist. We are really aspired about going into research into the cancer study, or say the astronomy, or they want to be a research scientist at a very reputed institute like the IITs. मैम डॉक्टर नहीं बनना है, मैम इंजीनियर नहीं बनना है, but yes, research is our portfolio. So just to pay emphasis upon that, what it really demands to be into research, what it is to be called as a scientist, how prestigious this position is, and I totally understand this because I myself had stayed on this position. So it is really, really aspiring for many of these students. And and just to know all about it, we have our special guest today with us on this evening, who has taken our time especially for you kids, because even his vision is the same. He wants to aspire from his golden words many of these students of your age who can be really astonished to know that where science is going, where today's research of 2022 is taking people to, and what it really costs to be a scientist, right? So, are we all ready? Yes. Okay, so we have, I don't have the name of the child, but he has joined as Physics S. So I also want to become a scientist and obtain my degree from IISc Bangalore. Awesome. This reminds me of my student Arushi, who always dreamt she was KVPY rank 8, and she always aspired to be a scientist at IISc Bangalore. Nothing to be like that, but unfortunately, she did not have mathematics, so she could not reach there. But students, in today's date, she's looking forward for research in neurological sciences, right? So any child who has this budding fire of becoming a scientist probably does not stop anywhere, right? So with these words, let us introduce and let us bring into limelight our honored guest, Amitabh sir. I'm just asking you to be unmuted. Hello, Amitabh sir.
Yes. I have
Sir,
unmuted myself.
very good evening, sir. And
Thank you.
apologies that we kept you waiting. There was some mismatch with the screen outputs. So we thought that the child should get the glimpse of our remarkable scientist in here who's joined us. And thank you so much, sir, for the time that you have taken out for us to address our young students.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Very happy to be here. Happy New Year to all the kids that are out here and to your team. Yeah, let's chat.
Yeah. Okay. Kids, though Dr. Amitabh does not require much of the introduction, but yes, I'll just introduce in very short words, and rest we want to hear much from sir himself, so therefore I would not take much time on this. But yes, Dr. Amitabh has been working as an associate professor in the Department of Biological Sciences and Bioengineering in IIT Kanpur since the past 16 years. Dr. Amitabh conducted his doctoral research at Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York, and also sir is a postdoctorate from the Harvard Medical College, Boston, USA. So sir's key research areas are developmental and molecular biology. Right, Amitabh, sir?
Yes, that's
Wow,
correct.
sir, that is really awesome. And so, like, I take biology for the even higher classes. So we have a chapter there which is molecular inheritance, right?
Mhm.
So, sir, I do understand the plight of students when they are going through this chapter and they are like, ma'am, what is this happening? So it is
Mhm.
really very inspiring for us, sir, to have you amongst us with your entire expertise on this field, and really we look forward to getting much of knowledge from you today and make this evening even more wonderful. Sir,
Well,
anything that you want to say in the beginning before we start?
no, like I believe that what science is, it doesn't matter which discipline, subdiscipline, it is simply an application of logic.
Okay.
Information is important, but nowadays you get information on the web, which was not possible during my time. So, therefore, I would encourage students to focus more on sharpening their logic than to gather a whole lot of information.
Great, sir. Great thought. Acha, students, just to address you, I have your live chat with me, so just hold on. We have some of the questions that we're going to put forth to Dr. Amitabh in some moment of time, and many of the questions will already been answered, right? So in after that, I'll be opening the forum for you to ask questions from sir, so that it is a two-way interaction. So you get the opportunity to speak to such a renowned scientist. So please hold on and just catch hold of your nerves, because we have very exciting things coming up with sir. Okay, sir. With this, I'll just start with the very first thing that we want to ask you. So I'm just repeating about sir. So he started from the Hooghly Collegiate School, did his PhD from Albert Einstein College of Medicine, and now, sir, you're teaching in IIT Kanpur for more than a decade, right? So can you just tell us about the entire journey in very short words? Like, did you ever face any challenges, or did you have any hard decision which you had to take, or any of the choices that you have made in your career life?
Well, yes and no. So, I was in a very good school, Hooghly Collegiate School. Maybe it will be exciting for the kids to know that throughout my career, I have studied in some of the oldest institutions in the country or in the world. Like Hooghly Collegiate School was established in the year 1812.
Wow.
It is a very, very famous government school in West Bengal. And, just like any one of you, my subject preference was shaped by my teachers. I had a fantastic chemistry teacher, so I decided that I will study chemistry. In those days in West Bengal, particularly, IIT was not really that much of a craze, and I did not want to study medicine. That I knew for a fact. In fact, I hated biology because, again, because of the teachers, right? So the
Sorry, sir, but don't you think this is a little bit of a contradiction? Like where you get
so let,
what?
let
So
me
actually, I'll just take a few seconds here. So I tell students one of the things that don't hate anything, because most of the cases we see that one thing that you try to run away from, that is ultimately the thing that comes back to you. So sir, has
yes.
this been true with you also?
Yes, let me tell you. Like, so what happened is that the way biology was taught in my school in those days, it was just you have to memorize a whole lot of facts without any logic. You have to memorize some diagrams without any logic.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the kind of thing that is very good to kill someone's curiosity. So I fled from biology, and in those days, if you were not going for engineering or medicine and you want to study pure science, your Mecca, not only in Bengal but in the whole world, whole country, was Presidency College, Calcutta. So
Oh.
I joined Presidency College, Calcutta's chemistry department,
Uh-huh.
and I learned my chemistry during the final year. In our time, there was an option to take an elective of either industrial chemistry or biochemistry.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why, but I thought that taking biochemistry would be cool. Just to like the textbook actually mesmerized me. So then I took biochemistry and I really fell in love with that subject. And then I decided to go for my MSc in biochemistry.
Uh-huh.
And I did well in my MSc in biochemistry. I didn't, in those days, GRE, subject GRE, those were the things you needed to do to go for PhD abroad. And here is something that I would like to tell all the students. You're talking about challenges. I could not have done a PhD in India. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because in Calcutta University system in those days, getting a lot of marks was very, very difficult. If any of your parents are from that system, you can ask and you will realize. So I had 59.5% marks in my BSc.
Oh.
That is, I did not have 60% of first class. I missed it by 0.5%. Therefore, there was absolutely no PhD program in the country, even today,
Mm-hmm.
which would open the door for you if you did not have a first class. So my
Oh.
only option of going for a PhD was if I could go abroad. So I gave my GRE and subject GRE and I went abroad. When I started my PhD program, it was really, really rewarding. But I chose to attack a problem that was much ahead of its time. So it
Uh-huh.
was complicated. And my PhD mentor warned me not to do that. I
Oh.
still decided to do it and I failed. After 4 years of my PhD, I had absolutely nothing to show for. Then I started again with my own idea. I started something new, which
Wow.
my mentor said, this is a good problem to attack. So never, like you should definitely go by your uh, own path, but do not ignore experienced people's advice. So I made that mistake, though I learned a lot, but I did end up losing 4 years of my academic career. Then I finished my PhD, and it was very productive, I should say. And then everything started becoming really hunky dory. Then I have my wife already was at Harvard Medical School, so I had no option but to apply for
Global.
postdoctoral positions in Boston only. So my
Ooh.
choices were limited to MIT and Harvard. I know that does not look so bad. I applied
Definitely not,
for
sir.
to 5 different labs, and
Okay.
I was accepted in 4 of those. And
Uh-huh.
it was a very tough choice to choose which one to join. And I joined a lab which is not only scientifically very successful, it was a fantastic work environment. I learned a lot. It was it was quite productive. And then I joined IIT Kanpur, in 2006 December, and set up my own program, and now I'm having fun. Yeah.
Great, great, sir. So just two questions in between. Like, as you mentioned that your percentile in the bachelor's in your graduation was 59.5 and you
Yeah.
missed by just 0.5%, right?
Yeah.
So how did it really feel, sir? Because we have some of the students amongst us, and
Mhm.
today's generation, they have gone very sensitive, right?
Yeah.
There are many students who aspire for exams like NTSC in their class 10th, and then somehow, if they miss that exam by 1 mark, they are like,
Mhm.
by the world has gone over and they have nothing
Yeah.
more to do. They lost it all, so they go into a shell of their own. So
Yeah.
how did you take this, sir?
Well, honestly speaking, unlike these very hardworking students, I uh, didn't do certain things right during my bachelor's. So I uh, actually deserved that 59.5. So I took it on my chin. And then actually, what I would tell all the students that now that I have been in academia for more than 30 years and I have seen the world, and in last 4 years for my administrative responsibility, I have interviewed and recruited more than 500 kids, fresh graduates most of the time. I can tell you one thing with full confidence. That is, it does not matter where you are from. If you are knowledgeable about something, it can be any damn thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you are knowledgeable about something, or if you have some skill, there is absolutely no way in this world that you will not succeed in your academic career or in your professional career. Therefore, yes, life becomes little easier if you are at an IIT, or if you are at IISc, or if you are in the top medical school. It becomes little easier, but it does not become impossible if you are not in the top tier places. I
Okay.
can tell you that in my organization, the incubator that I run, which we will come to a little later, I have students from absolutely third rate academic institutions. And I treasure them. They are outstanding, in some ways better than some of the colleagues that I have hired from highly, popular or competitive academic programs.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is great. So kids, please be very attentive in here to sir's words. So what if you lost one game? There is the whole world in front of you. Start gearing up your energy and start focusing towards something which is coming ahead next, right? So by no means you should be stopping yourself if you did not somehow succeed in one go, right? And I would also want to emphasize, and I think sir would be also adding to it, so the 4 years that you said that somehow you misplaced yourself, right? But I'm pretty sure that those 4 years, though did not give you success in terms of your doctorate degree, but definitely they would have given you some better knowledge, some better insight of things. So I think you won't be depending upon spending or investing those 4 years. What say, sir?
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, because some of you may have studied biology. See, like we are talking about an era where genes were discovered. Okay, are we there?
Yes, 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 sir.
Okay, where genes were discovered. Like today, you have the entire sequence of your genes on the web. And I was part of that generation, the fag end of it, of course, where we discovered genes. And then, we were trying to uh, make recombinant proteins in the laboratory that many groups were doing. My
Uh-huh.
ambition was to make a recombinant protein that is composed of 10 different polypeptides.
Wow.
Nobody has attempted such a thing before I did, at least not in the literature.
Mhm.
So I knew it was challenging, but I nonetheless wanted to attempt it. And yes, I failed, but in the process, the amount of molecular biology and biochemistry that I learned stayed with me. In my
Correct.
independent laboratory, I applied those insight to do things in different ways than other groups in the world.
Correct. Acha, by the way, I'll just intervene in here. But I hope you all are aware of the word recombinant. So, recombinant means when you take two different things and you put them together. Because we have a crowd who is from even 7th, 6th class. So
Okay, okay,
probably
okay.
recombinant word for them would be a little too heavy.
Oh
So I'll
yeah,
just
oh yeah,
intervene in
oh
between.
yeah. Yeah, thank you for alerting me to that fact. Yeah, yeah. So I
Okay,
can.
and so because I had my questions with me already for you, so I just removed the screen, and so that all the kids can literally have your presence just behind their like just in front of their screens. So I've put you on the full screen.
No
So
problem.
that was
Thank
the
you.
reason that you could see that something disappeared
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
between.
yeah.
Okay, okay, so that is awesome. So we had this question already that that what has been like whatever you wanted to do in life, was that your dream right from the beginning, or that the just the path came across? So I think you've answered that already, right?
Yeah.
So I'll just move ahead. So there are many students who are watching us, and most of them, sir, today, especially when they are in their class 10th, they face a lot of confusion, that why they like mathematics also, they like biology also, and basically these two are the subjects which are different from them opting either the engineering JE or medical, the NEET. And so what do you think, like any keywords that you can share which can help them select the best for themselves? Like, should they listen to what their mentors are telling them? Should they listen to what their parents are asking them to do, or they should listen to what they themselves want? But then in what they themselves want, they are in utter chaos in their head for bio
Yeah.
and mathematics. So what do
Yeah.
you suggest, sir?
So, like I will tie up two, three different things and I'll say what I think should be done. I'll first start with uh, a 2 year older kid's example.
Okay.
My very
So
good.
I'll just Krishna, this is an answer that sir is going to give for you specially. You have been writing since past so much of time that I am in class 7th and should I go for JE? So here Krishna is the answer for your question. And also Ranak, here you go.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So there was a very dear friend of mine. He called me up one day and said, Amitabh, my daughter, she cracked both, state engineering exam as well as state medical exam, but she really wants to study English.
Oh,
And my parents at home, they are crying. And I said that, just let the kid do what she wants to do. And now I know that she is extremely happy with the choice that she made. I I would like to tell the kids, the fact that from class 7 you are thinking what you would want to do, JE or not, itself is a slightly disturbing trend. Uh, our education has become very much, job opportunity oriented, and that, in my opinion, is a problem. And again, I want to assure you, and with full confidence, that if you are good at anything, you will earn an honest and good livelihood. Education must not be the like the life earning livelihood must not be the only purpose of education. The major purpose for education should be to satisfy your curiosity.
True,
You
sir.
are a human being, an intelligent being. Therefore, you have inherent curiosity. If you want to kill that because you want to get a job 10 years later, uh, these 10 years you will actually live in misery. And after you have gotten the job, you might feel
You
that this
lost
is
something.
not exactly what I wanted.
True, very true, sir.
So I would say that please listen to your inner self. And if you feel that you have fantastic fine arts skill, hone that, become an expert. Like, do you know today, uh, me and many other people, we desperately feel the need that only if we had some fantastic science illustrator, those who can draw sketches, make cartoons, make movies about science. If you uh, go to the web, all the fantastic, like the the cartoons, etc., are all from outside of India. We do not have those kind of skill sets in the country. Do you think those are not rewarding? Those are extremely rewarding
Extremely
careers.
rewarding, sir. Yeah.
So please do not be driven by what is the job opportunity. Job you will have if you are good. There is nothing that can stop you from
Yes, sir,
getting a job.
I feel it might not be 100% the fault of the child, because
Yeah,
I
it is the
find them just
parents.
like those small nestlings who do not know how to spread their wings, how to fly. But
Yeah,
it's just that is happening all around them. They get
exactly.
driven by thoughts. So I
Yes.
even don't believe that the students of 7th, 8th, and for that case, even 10th class student can really understand that what JE and what NEET and what other sciences, other fields would bring to them, right?
Yeah, no, no. Like, see, like, uh, they would not like. What about seventh, 10th, 12th? Like, even students who are studying at IIT that I get to teach in their first, second year. If you ask them what you want to become, and if you ask them 5 years later, you will realize that their worldview has completely changed after they have gotten out of academia.
True.
Or those who stayed in the academia, they have like I will give you kids an example that you will like. Okay,
Okay, kids, pay
please.
attention here to what sir wants to share. I think live
Yeah.
examples are the best teachers. Yes, sir.
So you will go to our website, Biological Sciences and Bioengineering Department of IIT Kanpur,
Mm-hmm.
and search for a name called Dr. Nitin Gupta. Okay,
Okay.
so Dr. Nitin Gupta, ready for it, was AIR 1 for the year 2000 in JEE. He
Mm-hmm.
studied computer science at IIT Kanpur. In his fourth year of computer science, then biological sciences department just opened.
Mm-hmm.
He,
Mm-hmm.
out of curiosity, decided to do some optional courses at BSB department. And that made such a change in his life that he decided to do his PhD in computational biology, meaning a confluence of computer science and biology.
Okay.
And that propelled him to do his postdoctoral work in absolutely experimental biological sciences that has nothing to do with computation or mathematics or computer.
Oh.
And now he is one of the most successful researchers. When he applied for job at IIT Kanpur, he was actually given the option to join both computer science and biological sciences department simultaneously, but
Mm-hmm.
he chose only to join biological sciences department.
Wow.
He is not the only example. His example you will be able to relate to. If you go to our website, you will see people like me who have done chemistry, who fled from biology at one point of time, are now practicing biology. You will find electronics engineers, mathematicians, physics majors, all of them are doing biology research. And biology is today an interdisciplinary area, so anybody and everybody can
Yeah,
relate to it.
biotechnology, bioengineering,
Yeah,
biophysics,
yeah.
biochemistry. So, Also, we
So,
have a student Romit in here, so he has a
mhm,
question. So I'll just take this privilege of asking you that. So he
sure.
says that my parents said that being a scientist takes much more time, which does not agree with our economically weaker families. So are they
Um,
correct? Should this be considered?
uh, yes and no. So, uh,
Ramit, pay attention, sir is answering your very question.
so like the fellowship that you can get as a PhD student at any recognized institution is today it is 32,000 to 35,000 rupees,
Okay.
which is more than many of the uh, entry level salary positions, salaries in other disciplines. Yes,
Mhm.
it takes longer to earn real salary in science. But as I said, that you do not pursue science because you want to
Earn.
earn a salary. You pursue science just because you are driven by curiosity, and salary is kind of a outcome of this. One of the outcomes of this. I do understand that at your age it might be a little bit too philosophical, but I can tell you this much, that I know way too many people who just get a high because they have solved a problem that they have been curious about for a long time. This cannot be quantified with salary. Yes, there
Exactly.
can be uh, difficult family situations which you may want to keep into account, but I know a lot of scientists who are from very ordinary family background. Like my own family background was not very wealthy. Um, but it is that if you are really interested in it, you will endure that hardship for 3 4 years. Uh, but uh, it is not. I would not say that it should not be something to consider at all. But you need to do a little hard calculation there. It
Correct.
is not only about the money.
Yep. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your precious advice. So I think, Ronit, you must have got your answer. So we'll come back to the other students who are wanting to ask one, two things. But for the time being, we'll continue with sir's contributions. So, sir, can you please share what contribution is bioengineering as a field brought towards society? Like, what scope does it have, and does it really have a bigger scope in India, or is it only abroad that sciences like biotechnology, bioengineering are finding place?
Well, I the ground reality is that India is the pharmacy to the world, but at the same time, uh, most of our large biopharma companies, they do not discover drugs. They make good drugs that were already discovered by other companies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so therefore, these kind of companies, they do not have a requirement for highly skilled, very smart scientific force. They need one or two very senior people like that, and the remaining can be just untrained people. They have to only carry out orders.
Mm-hmm.
So that the industry scenario therefore limits the number of people that can go into biotechnology industry
Biotechnology.
in the country per se. But that is certainly going to change because of the competitive disadvantage of this line of business. Now many of the companies are slowly being pushed into original drug research,
Okay.
and that is one aspect. So it
So
will
I think the
change.
COVID vaccine that the Indian scientists have produced, I think that is a
Yeah,
step towards this development.
absolutely, absolutely. So you there you have both the examples that Covishield was not developed in India. It was formulated in India. It was developed at Cambridge and with AstraZeneca, right?
Correct.
But Covaxin has been developed from the scratch in India,
Wow.
right? So
And now for the kids, co-vaccine is already being used,
exactly,
right?
exactly. So it is not just Covaxin. In fact, that's what I was going to say next.
Mm-hmm.
That if you think of our struggle since 2020 and compare it with the so-called developed nations, you will see that we have actually not done bad. We have
Yeah,
done perhaps
truly.
better than many other so-called developed countries.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see that an enormous contribution has come from biotechnologists from within the country.
From within the country.
Like the first diagnostic kit that was made available in India was developed by a startup company in Pune.
Awesome.
The first, PPE kits, like when we started, there was no production of PPE kits in India. Now, just because there was a demand, we immediately turned around, and now we are second largest producers of PPE kits in the world. Masks, those were not at all produced in the country, and now the Made in India mask is championed by none other than our Honorable Prime Minister.
Yeah,
The ventilators, if you all remember the newspaper stories in 2000, April, May, is that we desperately need ventilators and ventilators cannot be procured from abroad, and there was no production in the country. But then companies actually made ventilators.
so I think
Hmm.
I think that
Yeah,
is so true for everybody, that unless and until there's a crisis situation hovering around your head,
yeah,
it is
yeah,
under stress and under pressure that we all start scratching our head and putting our best to come out of the situation and bring and save millions and millions of people. So that is super awesome. So kids, start learning, huh? If there is pressure around you, you will be the best to come out. And even before, because diamonds are made not without pressure but with a lot of pressure, a coal changes into a diamond. So please decide for yourself whether you want to remain as coal, get burnt, or sparkle and shine like diamonds. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your words. Sir, developmental biology and embryology is one of the key areas that you specialize with, right? So the very first question that comes to my mind, we see so many of the genetic disorders coming up, and I don't know, somehow, maybe due to the changing lifestyle, today's generation, the who are becoming parents, so they are getting the children are being born with many of the deformities, or especially like autism. So what
yeah.
do you think, sir? Like, is it possible that some of these diseases can be caught hold of right when the development is taking place in the mother's womb? Like,
Yeah.
is it really possible, and can they be treated also?
Yeah. So very, very good and important question. Unfortunately, in India, the statistics is not available, but in the US, every year, 1.5 lakh students are, 1.5 lakh babies are born with genetic deformities, congenital deformities.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
meaning the babies are not born perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And there are ways to predict that defect. It is called prenatal diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is available in India as well. One of the most common ways of doing it is called amniocentesis, where the baby is encased in a
Amniotic fluid.
muscular cavity, and within that there is a fluid called the amniotic fluid, and the baby actually floats in that fluid.
Hmm.
So if you take that fluid out, which is possible, I'm sure most of the students here know about ultrasound. So ultrasound can be used to see the baby, and another needle can be poked inside the amniotic sac to take out little bit of cell. And now, because of COVID, all of you know about RT-PCR and etc. So those kind of
Definitely.
molecular biological techniques can be used to detect if there are any DNA level anomaly, like this autism that you talked about, often is associated with Down syndrome, which is trisomy of 21, meaning a little bit of extra DNA. Okay, there are several such conditions that can be detected. There is a very common birth defect called spina bifida, meaning the
Backbone is
spine
split.
below, yeah, the spine below the head, is not fused. Rather, it
It
is
is
little bit
split.
of open, and that creates a whole lot of problem. So those can be diagnosed prenatally using these kind of molecular biological techniques. Unfortunately, though, uh, you can only do clinical intervention in most of the cases after the baby is born. In some cases, it may be desirable to terminate the pregnancy, but we cannot do uh, genetic intervention, meaning the technology to correct wrong genetic information is actually available. Okay. But the ethical considerations do not allow us to do that. And this is an interesting topic. Unfortunately, we do not have a lot of time, but for the students, just I will take 1 to 1.5 minutes. So, you may want to think that if we can already figure out that this baby will develop cancer, then why can't we do the intervention and correct that mistake in the genetic
Right in the
architecture?
beginning.
Uh, so you may think that that is the right thing to do. But here comes the other side of the argument. What if I tell you that we also know the genetic change that can be made to make a baby smarter or taller and stronger? Should that be done? Now, what happens is that if you allow that, then only people who have the money to afford it will be able to get it done.
True.
Therefore, the level playing field that you have today, it is not absolutely level. Even now, rich people have certain advantages over others. But then it will become an absolute advantage because only those who can afford their babies will be taller, stronger, much more intelligent. So the people who are born of poor parents have already lost the game even before they are born.
They're born.
Therefore, there is this ethical dilemma whether to do prenatal gene editing. Uh, as usual, China has already done it. I don't want to use China as the benchmark, but yeah, like it is possible to do it, but it is generally not done. It is not ethically approved yet.
Okay. So gene therapy and embryological level, what do you think? Like, will it be useful?
Yeah, like it is absolutely doable. That's what I said, that it is absolutely doable,
Okay.
but we are not ethically allowed to do it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Do
even
we
if you
foresee
know
that
that, yeah,
this can be taken up in the upcoming years? It might take a
yeah,
lot of years, it might take another decade, but will it be over
only
like
when the rules of the game have been defined really well. Like it might seem frustrating to some that despite knowing that there is a remedy, why aren't we using those? Um, uh, it is because of this ethical dilemma. So I'm pretty sure people are working on the guidelines that can be deployed to ensure that it does not make the world worse than what we are today.
Mhm. Right, sir. Thank you. Sir, Dr. Amitabh, you are a very well known name amongst the scientist community, right? And we are really honorable to have you here amongst the students. So, if the students sitting at their home, I have their chats with me. So they want to be a scientist. So what do you think should be your guidance to them? What steps they should take to reach there? There are some students who are asking that, sir, can we select both space and water science fields together? Or I want to become a quantum scientist. So that is what, like, to be honest, I've already replied in the chat ki bacha, quantum physics is not just a single word. You have to dig yourself deep into the its entire universe that it contains. So what would be your insight for all these queries?
Well,
Like
um,
I
yeah.
somehow feel that these are very young kids. They come across some catchy words and then
Yeah,
they
yeah,
start
yeah.
taking it up.
That's what it is. The advice that I will give you. How many of you have heard of Professor Richard Feynman?
Okay, students,
Um,
so sir is asking you the question. You can put the answer in the chat window so that I can tell sir.
That how many of you know of or heard of Professor Richard Feynman?
Professor Richard Feynman. How many of you have heard of the scientist?
So he is considered one of the smartest physicists to have ever existed. Okay. And I will paraphrase his advice, and I myself really go by it. I discovered his advice only recently, but I have been going by it for quite some time. Is that please, and this your teachers will not like, please do not take whatever written in your textbook as word of God. Develop some kind of, uh, irreverence towards uh, written material, okay, whether it is textbook or research paper. The reason is this, that if you already believe what is there in the textbook and you believe that to be the final word, then you might feel that there is absolutely nothing left to be discovered. So it is very, very important to be skeptic. What you were reading, read it from many different sources, and convince yourself that yes, it is actually correct. Most of the things there that is there in written corpus is actually correct, but within that, like if you want to be a scientist, you have to the we start our day by asking questions on uh, things written by my peers the month before or the year before. Therefore, skepticism, constructive skepticism, is very, very important. And that is the only thing that is required, honestly. Like, you have to be interested in whatever subject you want to pursue, and you have to have this scientific temper uh, where you do not take every written word as word of God. That's it.
Mhm. Thank you so much. So I think students, many of you must have got your answers. So there is a question from Anil. What about embryology culture professional field?
Um, well, embryology culture can. Uh, so I do not know why you asked this, but let me give you a little bit of a perspective. So, if you know about in vitro fertilization, their embryos are cultured up to a certain stage. Okay. But the moment the embryo will require blood supply for its survival, which will happen after a few days in existence, then embryo can no longer be cultured. Okay. Um, in our laboratories, we can culture embryos, but those are uh, we have perfected it only for chicken embryos. We cannot do it for mouse embryos so far, because mouse, it depends on many other factors. So I do not foresee embryo culture to become mainstream anytime soon, because we have not understood our physiology well enough to be able to do that. In theory, it can be done. Like, you can completely mimic mother's womb and make the whole baby outside in a test tube. But we have not developed that kind of understanding yet. Maybe some of you will become the pioneers for that. That is an open area for you to, and absolutely do not think as anything as impossible. If you can think about it, then certainly it can be done. Okay, it only depends on how much hard work it will take, how many years it will take, but it will not certainly be impossible.
Great. Correct, sir. I also really support your viewpoint. Okay. What do you think? There are many of these students who are after the exams only what their curriculum brings them to. Like if you're doing your ninth, 10th, so it'll be school syllabi that they'll be taking up. 11th, 12th is again monotonous like everybody else. And then when you enter into your graduation, you prepare for your BScs and then you prepare for your masters. So they are the curriculum examinations. So
Yeah.
any other examinations of great interest and great opportunity that come to your mind which you would want to advise the students to go in for? Like I'll just cite out here, like we know that if you appear for KVPY, Kishore
Yeah.
Vaigyanik Protsahan Yojana, and then you
Yeah.
are amongst the top scorers, then IISc Bangalore gives you a direct entry,
Yeah.
right?
It is
So
not only
therefore,
IIT
students have an
Bangalore.
interest towards that examination. So any
Yeah.
other prestigious examinations that come to your mind?
Yeah. I do not know what is that exam called now. In my childhood, it used to be called the Science Talent Search exam.
I think that is
Uh,
NTSC only, the National Science Talent
yeah,
Examination.
yeah, 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 yeah. And the reason I used to enjoy that exam is because the questions were very interesting, not the typical textbook school exam type questions.
Uh-huh.
So I used to enjoy taking those exams. And I would say that these kind of exams which test your intellect uh, is something that students may want to engage in. The science Olympiads, I have seen some of those question papers. Those are quite engaging.
Uh-huh.
So those, and students, please, for the heaven's sake, do not think that your life depends on doing well in any of those exams. Participate just for the fun of it. If you score fantastic, congratulations. If you didn't, you have still learned a lot, and it will not go to waste.
And also, sir, I think we can add that while you are into your research, there are n number of scholarships that the organizations keep on giving up, and
Yeah,
you can always get your own
salary.
projects funded. So, n number
Yeah,
of fundings that you can keep on getting and moving your ahead with your research, right?
absolutely, absolutely.
So kids, there is no stoppage anywhere. Just keep a heart and a firm determination of what you want in your life and just take that path. Do not think, because not everybody is going to say positive about it, not everybody is going to say negative about it. So basically it is your will, your determination which will pave way for where you land up, right? So sir could have had an opportunity of giving up right when he invested 4 years and he was empty handed, but did sir do that? That is most important. What attitude we keep for ourselves in our academic career, in our life, is something which matters the most. Baki scope of everything is everywhere. The moment you come to a determination that you have to excel in that, definitely the world is going to be yours, right sir?
Yes, I absolutely agree with your view.
So we were just going through the site, the Kanpur, the IIT Kanpur site. So we came across something that was Techrati.
Mhm.
What is this, and how can this help students gain knowledge? How can this be beneficial and an eye opener for any of these students? Like any light on this?
Yeah, yeah. Like Tekriti is a fantastic program. What its objective is to expose students about the scientific progress, technological progress that is being made around the world. So they do certain science exhibition type events. The segment that I particularly like is every year they invite some 15, 20 outstanding scientists and technologists to
Wow.
talk about, like at least 4 or 5 Nobel laureates are invited every year. So, that is your window to the world while sitting in IIT Kanpur or in any part of the country. And they also run programs for school kids, uh, which is, again, quite intuitive, exam type. And if you are selected, you are given access to all the Techrati events and stuff like that, other than the recognition, of course. So this is actually fantastic if you want to learn what is cutting edge in science and technology today and
Wow.
what we might
So I
hear
think
5
all
years
these
from now.
students who are asking about research, who are asking about science in the chat window. So I think Techriti is the word that you should be searching. You should be going to the IIT Kanpur website. And because it is mentioned, it is also for the school students, and therefore you yourself are eligible for it. So why not, students, give it a try and get selected? What say? Can I have a huge cheer in the chat window for it? Yep. Anmol has a question. Sir, I got full in science but scored bad in math. Sir, I scored bad in term 1 class 10. Can I become a scientist in the future? So please guide. How can I? Come on, Anmol. Again, like, don't think small. Come on. That is one failure does not matter. And this one instance in your life, which you'll even forget probably in the long
Well,
run. So
well,
that should
Anmol,
not affect you.
I can tell you a few things. First of all, it is important to learn maths and be good at math. The logic of maths will be important even if you are doing biology. But one exam doesn't really matter. But more importantly, every year 3 scientists get Nobel Prize in physiology and medicine. How many of them you think can solve differential calculus? Today, because I have made my place, so I can exclaim openly. Like if you see some of my social media posts, I clearly tell that I can't solve differential equation. That does not make me any less competent in doing what I do. So. Not taking away anything from the importance of learning your mathematics and honing your mathematical skills, but different people have different kind of acumens. If you do not have the mathematical acumen, so be it. You can still be a fantastic scientist.
Great, great. So here goes the golden words of sirs. Sir, how do you become a professor at IIT Kanpur? Is one of the student asking. So Suva is asking this, sir, how to become a professor in IITs?
So uh, it is perhaps one of the most transparent process of academic recruitment in the country. So as you have figured out from my career graph that I did not do I was abroad for 12 years before I got the job offer at IIT Kanpur. So you simply apply. We have our application going on year round, and then they will ask you to give a presentation about your work. And much more importantly, they will ask you to spell out what you will do in the next 5 years as an independent researcher. And that's what we evaluate a candidate on. Of course, like after you have done your PhD. And then if we feel that you are very good, you fit in the overall ambition of the department, then you are in. It happens sometimes that a spectacularly good scientist may not be offered because his or her research program does not fit in the overall vision of the department. But there will be some other department where it will absolutely fit in. And the that is the more technical aspect. And on the other aspect is that you have to have a passion for teaching,
Yeah.
and you really have to have an outstanding research credential and research ambition for you to be a faculty member of any of the IITs.
Correct. So all these students who are asking here that I want to go into research into physics, how should I go? How should I go to NASA? How should I go to IITs? How should I be making it up for the ISRO space scientist? So kids, the simple answer for that is stay tuned. Visit the websites, or today every organization has a website which keeps posting the outlets that they have. They can invite students, they can invite fellows, they can invite the young scientists. There are many young scientist awards that you come across. So for all these, you have to become a part and parcel of any of these science communities, and then you will be updated for the same, right? So, sir, before we end, thank you so much once again for your precious time, sir. And we didn't even realize when 1 hour passed by and we've been chit chatting. And I think, children, you should show a lot of love and respect to sir, because his words have really must have embarked your lives and must have given you some clarity about your research mind intellect. So can I have a big thank you and a big cheer for sir in the chat window? And in the by side moment, sir, any golden words for our budding audience?
Yeah, like not golden words. I am not that wise, but one thing that I want to alert all the students about, that I do not know how many of you know about uh, Indian Institute of Science Education and Research, ISERS. These are relatively newer institutions. Any of you who have ambition of becoming a scientist, other than IISC, those are the organizations that you should really look forward to. And they also admit from KPPY ranking. And
They
I
have a
know of
paper of their own
many
as
people.
well.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very good system to go to if your ambition is to become a scientist.
Thank you so much, sir, and wish you a lovely, lovely year ahead. And may all your upcoming sciences be a remark, be a benchmark in the science community. And that is wholehearted thank you and best wishes from the entire VOS team. So,
Thank you.
and a lot of love to you from sir, from the students.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed the chat, and I would love to, come back again when opportunity presents
Thank you
itself.
so much, sir. Thank
And
you.
very happy New Year to you and all the kids. And may the kids succeed in whatever they want to do. And I know that they will. They are all smart, intelligent kids. Uh, they just need a little bit of handholding, and I'm pretty sure VUS is doing that job pretty well. So
Thank you.
thank you for doing your job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too. Bye bye.
So I think kids will say bye to sir, because and more important is today was Sunday. Sir was occupied with his family function, but still he took this time out for us. So I think we all are really overwhelmed with his presence, and sir, really grateful to you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, sir.
Bye bye.
Bye, sir. So, kids, I think you must have got a hangout, some of the tidbits of research regarding research. For any of the other questions that have remained unanswered, you can please keep posting them in the chat. You can leave them in the description box, and we'll revert back to you with the answers very soon. Have a nice Sunday. Have a nice evening. Stay tuned on VOS.